wonderful. Welcome to my channel. Hi everybody, how are you doing? I am in the middle of doing this cold coffee tasting test, and I still haven't decided if I'm going to include it in this episode or in a separate one because YouTube has been saying, not to me specifically, that it's best not to mix content. But then I heard from some other source that that's YouTube talking and not viewers. So I don't know. I'm still going to try to decide. In any case, whatever I decide to do with the coffee, I'm going to continue with our last little bit of the missing kids case of Darlene and Jan, the two school friends, and I'm just going to finish it up and make some concluding remarks and finish it off. So that'll be coming just a little bit later. Hi guys, so I thought I would take this time out to go back to the second part of our review on the Darlene and Jan missing kids case. The story of the two schoolgirls who went missing in 1983, 6 months apart from each other, and they were both expecting. And so there is concern still for this case, which is still open and unsolved because of the 30-year gap in between the last sightings and now. That last sighting of both of them together would have been 1987. And so we have to, look at this case in terms of danger and threat to the girls that were confronting the girls at the time of their disappearance. And so there was no grave and immediate danger or imminent threat for either of them. Obviously, the pressing reason for anybody to want to immediately find these women is because there were two fathers involved. And as a father, I know that at least one of them didn't even know if it was his child or someone else's. And so Darlene had two boyfriends. And so I think that would be one pressing instance of where and why this case would have remained open for so many years. But, sometimes the simplest answer or the simplest and most logical conclusion is often the correct one. And this would be, in both of these girls' cases, that they simply decided to stay away from their home, goodness knows why, and not return to their home city and live out their lives in anonymous secrecy under different and assumed names in different cities, or rather in different parts of the world. And so we don't know what circumstances would have led them to both do that. And so, in Jan's case, her mother was on her deathbed when she left, and that could have pushed her right over the edge. being a young, expectant mother, a teen, it would have been horrific to face life without a mom, right? Maybe that's what pushed her over the edge and she decided to just, I don't know. I don't know. Um, you know, there is, we don't know what other urgent matters would have been confronting those two girls at that time in 1983. And so there is so much about this story that confuses us. And so here are some of the questions that are raised. Why was it that Darlene's boyfriend's father in Oakville reported her missing rather than Darlene's father? Well, Darlene had left home independently, and so she wasn't exactly missing in that sense of the word. But when she fled from her boyfriend's home, after they argued about her other boyfriend in Toronto, um, she then became almost like a fugitive, I would say, because I guess the guy didn't know if it was his baby or not. That's what I'm assuming. Or why would he have cared? Um, I'm sure he cared for her, but it wouldn't have dragged on this open file all these years if it was simply a matter of Darlene's family. They haven't been in contact with her either since 1987. And so it's just weird. You know what I'm saying? It's not your average run-of-the-mill missing kid case. It's a case where kids ran away and then became missing. And it's a weird pattern, but it is probably much more predominant than we would imagine. And there's another case coming up that is kind of similar to this. So anyway, let's go on with the story. So another question is, did her family, did Darlene's parents know about her boyfriend in Oakville and Toronto? I'm sure they probably knew about at least one of them. And probably along with that question is, did it influence them negatively in any way? And so another question is, what was Darlene's connection with Huntsville, where she was last seen with Jan in 1987, 4 years after they both disappeared? And so another question is, why did Darlene's case remain active even when she was in contact with her parents? And while she was openly communicating with them, why was it still open? Probably because one of the two men in her life was looking for his child. That could have been it. I'm not sure why it would have remained open and why she wouldn't have been reported found. I don't understand it. I guess my question is, what was her parents' stance in this whole missing person perspective? And so surprisingly, the case of Darlene's missing person file did not get cleared up even after the sighting of her in Toronto and Huntsville with Jan was confirmed in 1987. So because she was still separated from the guy or the guys, I don't understand it. And why, most of all, why did Darlene not collect her trust money? And why did this escalate her family's concerns when they were already aware of confirmed sightings and had been in contact with her? So weird, guys, so weird. So I would assume that the management of this case was handled across different jurisdictions. And I think that one article, at least, that I read on this case did properly cite this as a possible cause of all this confusion. where maybe it was solved in one state or one city and unsolved in another. It's because the people involved were spread apart. And so these questions are a byproduct of human nature. And, you know, we want to know because it's weird. It's a weird missing kid pattern. And it's weird to have a child go missing after the child runs away. It's not your average run-of-the-mill, predictable, or normal um, missing kid case. And so neither of these girls were abducted. We don't know what went on. We don't know what situation faced Darlene and Jan, other than Jan's mom passing away and then her father passing away some years after that. She had no siblings. I don't think she had a very nice life. I think she may have wanted to escape for a long time. We don't know. But for Darlene to, not go and collect her estate money, I think what I think is that she was making plans to go and get the money. And that would have been probably maybe the last contact that she had with her family. So I can see how some people would suspect this as foul play. But at the same time, I do think that Darlene, at the time that she left, she was 16, and she would have come into the money at 18. But she was then, what, 2021 in 1987? I haven't done the math. And so none of this makes sense to me, even though it does seem that she was a very mature and responsible young lady. I think she was also very headstrong and independent and too strong-willed for maybe a very young mother to handle. Um, Sometimes that's what happens in family life, you know. And so until Darlene's family knows that she's alive and safe, maybe they shouldn't know. Maybe there's something about this case that um, doesn't necessarily need to have Darlene's family involved. Maybe something there is dangerous to Darlene. I don't know. And so they will not withdraw the missing person report or the missing person file. And so they're still looking for answers, guys. And so are we. We want to know if there was foul play involved. We want to know. Obviously, Jan is also missing. So, and she had nothing to do with the trust fund. So I don't know. This is indeed a very strange case. And so another question would be, what happened to her after she left her boyfriend in Oakville? You know, nobody knows if she went to Toronto. She was spotted there briefly, not long after that, working as a waitress, but nobody knows for sure what exactly her next course of action was. And so the father of her boyfriend in Oakville was, you know, subsequently the one who eventually reported her missing to the Halton Regional Police. In the months following her disappearance, Darlene made several calls to her mother from a payphone in Huntsville, Ontario. In 1985, Darlene was spotted working as a waitress in Toronto, where her boyfriend was. It was the year that she did turn 18 and the year that she never showed up to collect money from her trust, which would have been available to her that year. And so 2 years later, in 1987, there was a confirmed sighting of Darlene. Now, maybe this is what is confusing. Was it confirmed? And who confirmed it? Obviously the police, but which station. And so Darlene and Jan were together in 1987 in Huntsville. Um, and so um, Huntsville is actually where Darlene's family had a vacation trailer. But I don't know, she was familiar with the area and probably not in a trailer. You know what I'm saying, guys? At least not according to any of the sources that I've come across. And so, 1987, the year that both Jan and Darlene were spotted in Huntsville together, it was the last confirmed sighting. Um, Almost a statement of a sort. You know what I'm saying? Despite, many tips over the years, investigators have never been able to pinpoint their exact location or find any evidence or paper trail of them at all. And so this is why people are assuming that they changed their identities. And I know that it became a thing in the 80s to have one's identity altered. It was a new thing. And so, what would have led to their desperation? It's sad to think of it. And so, maybe even for Jan, I know that she lost her father sometime after she left home. It might have, it might have been this case with her that she didn't have anything to return to, but not with Darlene. And so the police have never been able to confirm their safety, their whereabouts, or anything. And yet, guys, if the police or any police officer did in fact track them down and find out and talk to them and find out that they did not want to be found, it wouldn't be here. Would it? It wouldn't be here. It would be kept in the dark. And so I guess what I'm saying is that we're not privileged to that sort of information because of the privacy and confidentiality of their whereabouts, and they have rights. And so that's why I think that they are really, I'm hoping that they are really well and alive and doing fine without a trust fund. That's very, very admirable. And so I know that both girls were probably very independent and responsible. And so probably there's nothing to worry about. But how do you tell that to a grieving family? They have no closure. There has to be some situation that we're not aware of, or maybe that the police were made aware of and made them agree to keep the secrecy. I'm sure that everything is on the up and up. However, if the police are indeed baffled and worried about this being foul play, most certainly the case cannot be closed. So that brings us to the end of our discussion on Darlene Tucker and Jan Stonehouse and their very mysterious and odd life up until 1987. Wherever they are, I hope that they're alive and well and having some semblance of a happy life. And I just hope that people who are out there and missing, don't put your families through that. I think there may be ways for you to communicate with your family without disclosing your whereabouts. Try to do that. But you have to do it yourself, because if you have a friend or someone else call, there'll never be any closure. I know as a fact that many missing kids refuse to communicate with their long lost loved ones, and so that's sad, isn't it? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening to me talk about different things in this video. I'm not sure if I'm including the coffee taste testing or not. I still have one more taste to go. I mean, test to go, and I can't find the coffee shop. So many of them have closed down. So maybe I'll hold off. I'm not sure. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye for now.